I want to say a big welcome to our panelists right now from my immediate left. I'd like to welcome Dr. Okhaifo Esegbe, who is a lecturer with Igbination University, Okada. Dr. Okhaifo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, St. Duke. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, Africans.
We also have with us in the studio a scientist, a reverend, and also a public affairs commentator, Reverend Canon Timothy Ighodaro. Reverend, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, listeners at home.
We have with us a civil society activist, the president of Network for Civil Society, Edo State, Comrade Engineer Emmanuel Ogbidi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Sonny Duke. Good morning, viewers and listeners at home.
And also joining us via Zoom from the United States, former AGO Local Government Council Chairman, Public Affairs Commentator, is also a grassroots politician, Ehi Egareva. Ehi, thank you for joining this special package of Politics Today on ITV Radio.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Sonny Duke, and good morning, viewers.
Good morning. Okay, let's get right into it. Let me start with you, Reverend Canon Timothy Ighodaro. Now, government, in its sincerity, let's put it that way, is doing what it thinks will change the status quo about Nigerians' plight against the background of the hunger, the starvation, and all the challenges that the country is going through at the moment. What, in your opinion, is the government not getting right to bring forth an environment where there will be a reduction in hunger, the cost of commodities will perhaps come down, because we aren't seeing that. Fuel price seems to be something that is out of the reach of the ordinary man, up to the point that people are literally leaving their cars behind and sorting themselves out using alternative means of transportation. What are your thoughts along those lines?
Okay, it is very easy. If you look at the aspirations of the Nigerian economy, he stated clearly that the Nigerian economy will be large, strong, competitive, diversified, and to be technologically enabled. These are the aspirations of the Nigerian economy. So based on that, the government is supposed to exploit the energies of its people. It's able to tap the talents and energies of its people and also exploit its natural resources so as to bring a standard of living, a very high one, of course, for its citizens. But today, that is not what we are looking at. The government is exploiting the natural resources, but not for the well-being of the people. You see, when you are doing something, you have to do research. There's what we call research. If I do this, what will happen? If I don't do this, what will happen? But none of them is being done. As at the time the government proclaimed lack of subsidy, there was no minister for education. There was no minister for petroleum resources. There was no secretary to the state government. There was nobody to manage the fallout from it. There was no preparation for it, because the people who are running the government do not like the country. They do not like its citizens. What they are interested in is the financial gain, and that is what they have been trying to do. Look at what is happening now. Since the federal government said they will do a fuel subsidy, who introduced fuel subsidy? Is it Nigerians that introduced subsidy, or is the government that introduced fuel subsidy? Who knows the cost of the fuel subsidy? Who are the people paying the fuel subsidy? Everything is government. They come around and say security. Our fuel is being taken out of the country. Who is in charge of the army? Who is in charge of the police? Who is in charge of the navy? Who is in charge of the air force? Who is in charge of all the security agencies? It's the same government. You cannot control your people, and you are giving security job to civilians to do. When we have a chief of defense staff, we have a chief of army staff, the inspector general of police. It's a failure of leadership. The leadership have totally collapsed, and they have no inborn desire to manage this country to a height in which other countries will be jealous of Nigeria. They are what we call the unseen spectrum. That's what we are seeing now. There is still the unseen spectrum, the hidden one that we don't know, which is the influence of the Western nation over our country. They tell them what to do. They are afraid to argue with them. And in the process of implementing the IMF, the World Bank, which nobody have been able to have redemption. Those who follow their way, no country have been redeemed. They follow them and begin to implement policy to suit Western nations. So you begin to see that We have the internal one, we have the external one. But the external one drives the internal one. Because if they don't make any of their, or make use of their suggestion, of their projection, they are rejected. This country will still move forward. We have seen countries in Africa that totally reject the submission of the Western nation. The tripod, that is France, Britain, and America. That's the tripod. Overbearing influence on our country, directing the leadership, but the leadership is not able to stand. If you will remember Murtala Mohammed, when he went to Angola to discuss and told them that Augustine Neto must be there, the popular movement for the liberation of Angola. What happened to him? Did it last any longer? It didn't last longer after declaring that he was assassinated and killed. That is what is happening. What happened to Patrice Lumumba? These are examples of the influence of Western nations over our country. Now we come to the issue that we are looking at now. Why will you remove subsidy from petrol when there is no adequate arrangement? Are you aware that in every country of the world, there are certain things each citizen is enjoying? Tell us what we are enjoying in Nigeria. As a Nigerian, what are we enjoying? That fuel subsidy would have been there, properly managed. Those who paid it were government. You didn't do that. You just took it away like that. Now we come to the issue. Are you now happy that Nigerians are being punished? The money that is being derived from it, where is it today? If you see the allocation to the state government, to the local government, to the federal government, it has blossomed. Has it tailored to the life of the people? Has it tailored that we now have transport very cheap? Has it tailored that we are now having good educational system? Are we having good health system? Is the health services, has it improved because financial? It is this period I now see a federal government hospital referring patients to a private hospital. Why do you do that? Because they said the equipment they have in that private hospital, they do not have it in a federal government institution. Okay. This is a fallacy. This is an inverted logic. It must not be tolerated. Those who have nothing to offer, they should not aspire for any leadership.
All right, let's pursue that. Dr. Okaifo, give me your take on the efforts, in your opinion, the efforts being made by government to remedy the situation. We've seen government, especially at the federal level, creating initiatives and platforms to ameliorate the plight of Nigerians. We've seen the federal government introduce palliatives. I mean, instances abound where government paid palliatives to workers just to ameliorate their plight. We've seen recently that government is gradually rolling out CNG buses where people need to convert from petrol to CNG, compressed natural gas, to reduce the burden. And all of these are initiatives that are coming into play on the part of the federal government. Aren't these things we should appreciate government for and allow them to blossom in terms of translating into the lives of the people?
Thank you very much for your insight and for the topic. But the issue is that the federal government, as it were today, being led by the APC government, let us call a spade, actually, they were not ready for governance, as it were. What they were ready for is to take over power and perpetuate themselves in power. First of all, the Holy Book said that righteousness exalts a nation, while sin is a reproach. In this case, lies and propaganda destroys a nation. So this is a government that came in through lies and propaganda. They antagonize the Goodluck Jonathan government so much, and they did not allow that government to have a fair day. But today, after telling us all those lies, all those things they accused the other government of, is what they have come to perfect. So that for them to continue to remain in power, they could have to continue to tell more lies and engage in more propaganda. Now, the policies of the federal government, as it were today, has led Nigeria into more poverty. Nigerians are poorer than they were before. Why? Because of the high cost of living. What is the cost of this high cost of living? Because of the obnoxious and irrelevant policies that this government have brought. The first one being the issue of subsidy is gone. That was never planned for. And this same government It's the government, it's the person who led protests in 2012 to say that fuel subsidy is a fraud, that Goodluck Jonathan want to siphon our money. I wonder where Rotimi Amechi is now. Now that subsidy is a fraud, he said this, is a that. Now, on coming to power, the first thing you said is subsidy is good. The same thing you called fraud that you protested against. Now, look at all the policies they have brought into play. If a native doctor or an oracle would have told us that Nigerians will buy fuel for 500 naira, I'm sure they will bundle that native doctor and go and burn up his oracles or what have you. So the government have nothing to serve us. The only thing they have to serve Nigeria is more hardship and more wealth for themselves. So they didn't actually come and solve problem as in the welfare of the citizen. Whereas the major reason why government exists is supposed to be for the welfare and security of the citizen. But today, where is security, where is welfare? When people cannot eat, people, even those who are working, are now resigning from their place of work. They cannot even take them anywhere. The naira has no value. How can you say that today naira is 1,700 naira? And you say such a government is, Nigerians are docile. Then going forward, the issue of palliative is an insult. Are Nigerians beggars? We have the highest natural resources as far as the world is concerned. There's no mineral that is not found in Nigeria. To say that you are giving palliative to Nigeria is an insult. You are turning us to, I'm sorry to use the word amanjuris. You are turning us to beggars. We are not beggars. What we want is a fair deal. We need an enabling environment. For example, you say they brought in CNG buses. To plow which road? You are from Ekpoma. When last did you visit Ekpoma? To plow which road? So the roads are virtually bad. Agbo road is bad. Wari road is bad. Ekpoma road is bad. Let's talk from where we are here. Which of the roads? Where is how many of the CNG buses have you seen in Benin City? You are in Benin City here, in the city here. How many of the CNG buses have you seen carrying people about? So they are all lies. They are all propaganda. So Nigerians must not expect anything good from this government so far. The only thing Nigerians should be thinking of now is how to push out this government in power in the next election, if need be.
Okay. How
to push them out of otherwise, the more you are expecting, the more crazy it becomes. How can you say that a mudu of rice we used to buy this 250 naira is now 6,500, 7,000 naira as the case may be? A pint of garri, we have bushes. Okay, in terms of agriculture, how many tractors have been imported into this country? How many lands has been prepared by the government in terms of tackling food? None of this is there. The herdsmen and what have you, the people kidnapping inside the bush, they are still there.
Okay, let me pursue that talk, Hypo.
Yes.
We're seeing a bold move, so to speak, on the part of Mr. President some few days ago. On Wednesday, the Senate confirmed new ministers. It's expected that these new bloods, so to speak, will rejig the Federal Executive Council, the cabinet of Mr. President, to bring in some fillip into governance in terms of policies, in terms of programs and initiatives to impact the people. What do you make of this effort and other efforts on the part of government?
Okay, thank you very much. I want to thank my co-panelists and the analysis they've made. And very quickly, the question is, the ministers that are injected into the system, is it a different government? Is it a different ideology? Is it a different system? The answer is no. They are still going to serve the same master and, do the same thing. Just very quickly, in addition to what they've said, you see, our economy, whatever this government is doing today, is just a cosmetic way of trying to paint the harsh policy of that have turned down the economy today. It's not going to work. They are all cosmetic way of buffering or reducing the tension. It's not working, and it has never worked. No responsible government anywhere in the world will jettison his policy of energy to the hands of private individuals. No government anywhere in the world will deregulate its energy sector and leave it to the hands of non-state actors and players. They can grant. Energy is a matter of national security. Take, for example, the issue of fuel and fuel subsidy gone, like was said. Since then, Nigeria has never remained the same. The reason because energy is very pivotal in the existence of any economy, the growth and progress and the life of its people. First, in three very key categories or areas: availability of energy, accessibility of energy, and then affordability of energy. Petrol, for example, as part of our energy system, if it is not available, there will be crisis. If it is available and it is not accessible, like we are having today, somebody said I have 500 billion, almost half a billion liter, and yet some other persons are saying we can't access it, it is not available to us, there will be crisis. And if it is also available, it is not affordable, where Nigerians are now buying fuel for 1,200, a resources or a product that we have in our soil today. There is a huge problem. So there is no amount of palliative, there is no amount of incentive, there is no amount of policies of CNG buses that you are going to bring that will reduce the effect of that one negative policy that government has made. The question is, what is actually the problem? Our governments are not sincere. They lack the sincerity of governance, the true plight they should have for the citizens and Nigerians to take them out of this situation. All they want and all they desire is to make policies that enrich their friends and their cronies, perhaps empower them so that they can also sponsor their elections in the next coming dispensation. So if you look at these three categories, is energy available in this country, whether petrol or whether power? Is it available? The ones that is available, the little one that is available, is it accessible by Nigerians? If you give Nigeria energy and it is well subsidized for Nigerians today, Nigerians don't need you. They don't need you to give them palliatives. Nigerians will fend for themselves. They are hardworking people. They are hardworking farmers. Those who have their produce, even in the farm, in spite of the insecurity today, can they transport those goods from their farm to their marketplaces where Nigerians can have them? So it is not available, it is not accessible, and yet it is not affordable for Nigerians. Okay. Then what is the essence of government? Okay. What is the essence of governance? The truth is this: if we have the right solution from government, the right policy in place today, a month, it's too much to see the impact of governance in Nigeria. If the government today decide to reserve the political will, take decisions, 1 month is enough for you to begin to see the effect of good governance in the lives of Nigeria. The injection of these ministers can be best described as reducing political appointment as a mere political compensation to those who have either done one or two things during your election, or to buy certain ethnic group, or to have their buy-in into your government and what have you. If you look at the appointment, vis-a-vis the appointment of the minister of the current FCT today, what is the effect of such political homo sapiens in the space of governance today? So it's all about preparation for 2027. It's all about political compensation, not about the capacity, not about the competence of this individual who have been appointed. It is not about what they can bring to the table to liberate Nigerians from the current quagmire that we find ourselves.
Let me pause you there, Engineer Emma. Let me just pause you there. Honorable Ehihariba, give me your take on the feelings that if government is really serious about impacting on the lives of Nigerians, it will start from itself by cutting down on the cost of governance. The feeling is that government is asking Nigerians the federal government, to tighten their belts, but government on its part is loosening its belt just to be able to accommodate more. Do you subscribe to this school of thought?
Thank you very much, Dr. Duke, once again for having me. I think what is really needed, having listened very carefully to my co discussants, what is really needed at this point is the recalibration and the reawakening of the average Nigerian psyche. Why do I say that? Especially with a view to knowing within their mind what perception and what views do they even have about governance itself. It seems the average Nigerian seems to see the Nigerian government as a unitary system. You see, I've listened to a viewer who have said that, even giving palliatives to Nigerians and questioned it and said, are they beggars? And of course, here in the United States, for instance, from time to time, palliatives are given to citizens, to help them through difficult economic times, especially during the COVID. Across the entire civilized world, that happens regularly and people are supported. Again, we need to look at the international spectrum. There is been a lot of difficult economic downturn across the universe, and inflation has been rife across the country. What I used to buy, for instance, for about $100 if I went grocery shopping in the United States about a year ago, is perhaps $200 and more today. And it is the situation across the whole world. Nigeria is not isolated. What's happened to Nigeria, in my opinion, is that this government seems to be the one that was just in place where, when all the bad economic policies were made over the years, came to fruition. What do I mean by that? If you remember, during the era of President Goodluck Jonathan, Okonjo-Iweala, who was the supervising minister for economy, had said that in the next couple of years, Nigeria was going to borrow to pay salaries of workers, that Nigeria was going to experience serious economic downturns. This is the time that we are right now. Why did that happen? The naira had artificial value for more than maybe 5, 6 decades, where we had a parallel market. Nigeria was about the only country in the whole world that was hoping to make economic progress, and yet we had two values for our currency. Why did we have two values for our currency over those years it was because the government was simply subsidizing the naira, and he gave it fake value, and people were doing a lot of round tripping. I remember the former chairman of FCMB, Otumba Balogun, he was banned from practicing but being a part of the banking sector because it was round tripping. What's round tripping? They buy the dollars for a certain amount of money from the CBN and come and sell in the black market. And that destroyed the economy basically. And the first thing the president would do was to stop this obnoxious economic, unrealistic economic situation, whereby one currency, the US dollar, had two values in Nigeria: the government value that the CBN was selling for, and the other value that was available in the black market, where most Nigerians were subscribing from. Then you come to the issue when I talk about people seeing the country as a unitary state. When the subsidy was removed, where did the funds go to? It released more than enough funds to the state and the local government. But unfortunately, in this climb, it will appear that we do not bother to hold the local governments and the state to account. It's always the federal government. The federal government of Nigeria, for Christ's sake, is overloaded. All of the expectations we are having from the federal government are just not realistic. It's not going to happen in any lifetime, and no president can accomplish that. That is not the way a federal system is run. You must demand accountability at the level of your local government, at the level of your state government. When you are talking of agriculture, for instance, there's no way, there's no federal government in the whole world that's going to feed the states. The state of Iowa, for instance, in the United States here is a small state. But guess what? They are responsible, for instance, for over 50% of the beef consumption, soya beans and corn and grain that we eat here. The state of California has the sixth largest economy in the whole world. What is their main economy? They have IT, they have agriculture, and they have education. They have some of the best universities. That's what makes the economy the sixth largest in the entire world. The Nigerian states must live up to their billing. There's no reason why those states, for instance, if we are to locate it locally, cannot feed its citizens. What does it take for a state to turn the fortunes around of Ekpoma rice and feed your citizens? Why are you looking up to the federal government for rice production? Why are you looking up to the federal government to produce tomatoes, to produce corn, to produce yam for your citizens? No, that shouldn't be the case. Think our federal government is overloaded, and unfortunately, the expectations of Nigerians will continue to be dashed, except they look inward. Of course, there's been challenges coming from policies that the federal government has put in place. But basically, we need to look inwards if we are going to solve the problem. What the most critical problem in Nigeria today is that of hunger. And those to solve it are the government, are these two lower tiers of government and not the federal. Yes, the federal will bring the CNG gas-powered transportation to support transportation to get the food crops out, but the food needs to be produced first. And where are they going to be produced? The local governments must engage in agricultural production to feed their people at that level. So must the states. Then the federal government will subsidize what they need to subsidize, like fertilizers and all of that. But until we look inward, it's going to remain a challenging situation for anyone to think that the federal government can feed all Nigerians or the policies in place that will make food cheap across the country. It's just not going to happen. It's a fallacy.
All right, let me pause you there. I'll come back to you in a moment. We've highlighted the challenges, the origin of this economic challenge that we're in today. What strategies do we think government can adopt going forward to checkmate this challenge? Reverend, not forgetting the overhang of the influence of Western institutions like the World Bank, IMF, US, UK, Europe, and all of that, which is something you highlighted a while ago, because that seems to be a major thing playing out in the energy sector in Nigeria, where crude is explored and exploited locally, but you depend on international market to be able to buy. Dangote's refinery coming on board was something that was celebrated, but it looks like this is more than meets the eye. The more you look, the less you see. The refinery has gone into food production. Why can't Nigerians access the products coming from Dangote refinery and, of course, reduce the price of fuel in the country? Reverend.
I want to thank you, and I also want to thank our brother in the US. There's some difference between us and our brother in the US. We are not telling the federal government to come and create food for us. That's not what we are saying. The federal government is in charge of the security architecture. During the election in Edo State, the vigilante was suspended. Why could you have done that? Federal fiat just suspended the security, and we know what happened. Last week in Aganibode, a school was attacked by some herdsmen, and 2 students were captured. And while they are away, the principal of the school, a God-fearing man, submitted himself that you cannot take my students away. He said, take me away. But the vigilante, who is in Aganibode, we are on the scene immediately to take action. The Nigerian army came 1 hour later, after those men have gone. So we can't continue like this. We are able to produce food for ourselves. Give us the security. Nobody goes to the farm anymore. 10 people will follow one person to his farm and work for only 1 day. The remaining 9 are watching. From there, the next day, they follow it to the next person's home. By the time they go around in a year, the whole year are ended. There is no food being produced. You cannot go to farm and return. That is the problem there. There is no security. I said in this place that every police officer should serve in his local government. No police officer should serve outside his local government, because he knows the terrain. Security is local. You cannot detain security from Abuja. If you serve in your local government and then you serve in your ward, you will see the effect of security. That is why the local vigilante is more effective than the Nigerian police, because they know the terrain, they know the people, they know the route, and that is what we are going to do for that. Then coming to the federal government regarding taking policy. Now let us look at it very well. God has put oil in our land. A man has 4 wives, and he see in Oluku fighting another man over one side chick. Is that not indiscipline? Gross indiscipline. The federal government have 4 refineries. They cannot manage it. They are going to interfere with Dangote's refinery. How can you take our oil from here, process it from the ground, put it into a ship? You pay for port facilities, you pay for transport to oversee. Then you, for the port you are going to use there, you pay. For offloading, you pay. For the refining, you pay. For bringing back the product again into the ship, you pay. The port facility there, you pay. You transport it to Nigeria. The port facility, you pay. You offload it, you pay. Into the tank houses, you pay. Then from there, tanker take it to the filling station, you pay. All these are being added together and say, this is the price of petrol. Does it make sense? It's not reasonable. What we are supposed to do is this. Take this oil from the ground. In my local government, we have the greatest gas reserve in Africa. In my own local government in Edo State, that is Orion. Exploit this thing, take it straight to the refineries. We have 4. We have 2 modular ones in Edo State. Let them refine it, and they will sell to the members of the public. You say market forces. We agree, let market forces determine, but not a market forces that are being manipulated by some hands that are not seen. They manipulate these things, and as they manipulate it, it brings hardship upon the people. So let us look at it critically. If Dangote refinery is giving oil and is to pay in Niger, we use Naira in Nigeria. I don't know how dollar have come to take over the space. Everything dollar, dollar, dollar. Are we Americans? We are not American, we are Nigerian. I like Naira more than dollar. I don't want to hear about dollar. I want to hear about Naira. You are giving me 2 Naira, I'm satisfied. I go there and buy rice and enjoy it. So if Dangote is paying in Naira, refining in Naira, refining in Lagos, pumping it out to all the filling stations in Nigeria, and then you will see that fuel will not be more than 500 Naira. But a situation where some people need to bring fuel from abroad, and if they allow Dangote refinery to sell at market prices in Naira in Nigeria, they will not be able to sell their product. What do they do? How can NNPC say that they are the only one that will buy Dangote refinery? That the other people should come and buy from them? That became a controversy. Today, we don't know how much Dangote is selling fuel per liter to people. We don't know. But all we know about fuel is at the petrol station. 1,150, 1,200. You go to mega station in Benin here, it's 1,065 Naira. That is what they are selling. So we don't know how much Dangote use in selling it to them. We don't know how much they use to transport it there. We don't know how much they use to unload it there. The filling station is using energy, that is electricity, to sell. The staffs are working. They need to be paid from the profit on top. So all these things are hidden. When all these things are relieved, you are going to see that this country, as one of our brothers said just now, we are able to take care of ourselves. We don't need palliative. If they are giving them in US, it's good for them. But here in Nigeria, we don't need it. I can go to the farm and work. 2, what is causing all this problem? I spoke to somebody in Kano. I said I need a bag of Nigerian rice. I don't want foreign rice. He told me that the price is 70,000 Naira per bag, 50 kg. That is to take it from Kano to Benin, 70,000 Naira. So who is selling rice at 140,000? I went to the village. I bought a basin of gari at 25,000 Naira. Who is selling it 40,000 in Benin? These are the wickedness that is driving. Why? The government have not taken time to drive the process. When you have a moving spirit and the fear of God to drive it, listen, there is justice and there is mercy. Justice can take precedent over mercy, because if you don't satisfy justice and you want to have mercy, you are going to have a problem. Jesus Christ himself learned obedience by the things he suffered, and he was made perfect. Being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all who believe in him. That is how he came. It was not by fear. He went through processes to become who he is today. So is Nigerians. Nigerians are ready to work. Myself, I was a farmer. I go to the farm, I produce yams. I sell yams. I sell plantain. I was able to pay. There's a time I paid my children's school fees. The whole year, I paid at once, because I had money from the farm. I didn't want to put it in the bank. I said the most critical thing now is the school fees of my children. I went to their school. How much is their school fee for the 3 things? I was told, and I paid. So that year now, I was always looking for transport money for them. I have to. It's from the farm, not from my salary. So what we are trying to say, because government of Nigeria said any civil servant can have farm. That is the business you can do, that you will not be questioned being a civil servant. If you have farm, you are allowed to run it so that there will be food abundant for everybody. This is what the government should pursue. You should provide security. People can go to their farm unhindered. If not, let every police officer, Nigerian police, serve in their local government. Let every police junior ones serve in their ward, and then encourage the vigilante.
Okay.
I'm coming, sir.
Right.
The vigilante should be taken over by the state government, and we should not leave it in the hand of the state government, because those boys need to be paid. See, good money. So every house, for instance, let's take Oredo local government for instance, it will be mapped out. After mapped out, classified, and every house is assessed. Let's say 1,000 by a bungalow, 2,000 by a story building, 3,000 by every month. This is the account you pay to. The state government announced this morning, buy a job, buy pump action for them, registered all of them, put them on duty, let them go about this town. You will see, you will sleep with your doors open and nothing will happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Reverend Colonel Timothy Godaro. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today, and it's reaching you live on independent television and radio. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll be getting more solutions from our panelists, and then our studio line will be open, so you can also call and contribute to the conversation. But remember, we always advise that you make your conversations and contributions to be as short as possible, and do not cast aspersion on anyone, irrespective of your biases and affiliations. We were on our last lap on the show today, finding solutions to the myriad of problems confronting Nigeria, especially economic problems. What is the way out? Let me get your take, Dr. Okaifo.
Yes, the way out is for us, first of all, to define the kind of government we want to operate. Presently, the kind of government we are operating in Nigeria is you cannot describe it. You cannot call it federalism. You cannot call it whatever. The man from America just now was talking about unitary kind of government we are operating here. For me, every people have their own culture. For example, in the West, they legalize maybe gay marriage and what have you, but in our culture is forbidden. In our culture in Africa, begging is forbidden. What I understand, my layman understanding of palliative as it were ought to be. For example, Ekpoman Road is not motorable. What's it called? But Junction is too bad. Ubeaya is too bad. Palliative means that they should go and pack stone and all those things, put it there first so that people can be managing it till it is properly done. That's palliative. Not to say you give people 2 cups of rice. Did you give them granite oil to cook it? You don't give them gas to cook it. So all those ones are not, we don't need palliative. Those money you are talking about palliative, use it to create infrastructure for us. Those things we are complaining that are not available, you need to do it for us. You say you are sharing 50 billion naira for palliative. I've never received one. I don't know whether you receive, sir. Or family receive. I've never received. That 50 billion you are saying you are sharing 50 million for people or 50,000 for people. Use it to do something now. Now, coming to the issue of state, yes, normally, those days when we were talking about Ekpoman rice, when you go to the local government council, you will find tractors. Government has already bought and put there. Your own is just to go and book. You pay a little money. You go and show them your farm. They will till it, harrow for you, plant for you. They will bring planter and plant for you. I was in Ekpoman at that 80s. So it was working for us. But now, can only me now carry a hoe and cutlass, go and clear it for what? How many hours can I be able to work? And if I want to get laborers to go there now, each laborer now charge about 4-5 naira day job. Before 10 o'clock, they tell you they are already closed, and you still feed them. So how many workers? So there is no security to go to the bushes. So first of all, government should provide security. The issue of state, we should know whether we are running through federalism. In America, that our brother was talking about, they are running through federalism there. Each state control their resources. Is not what they are doing there. Each state control their resources. So why don't you allow, for example, we have some oil wells in Edo State. Why don't you allow our Edo State government to be running it and pay tax to the federal government? Okay. That's so they will be able to hold our government accountable. Today they say they are bringing billions for security vote and citizens cannot probe it. Is that not a fraudulent system of government? So we should remove all these instead of building powerful individuals. What we have is powerful individuals. Instead, let us build powerful institutions that will work for us. Okay. Today now, it's just a point. Today now, you discover that the House of Assembly who used to approve for our governor, the other day now he sent them a bill because they had discovered he's getting out of the picture. They sent him a bill that they want to borrow money. They have suddenly got the guts to say no. So what we are saying is that let this issue of powerful individual. So not until that individual decides on what to do, nothing is done.
All right. All right, yeah, Comrade
Yes,
Imam, yeah.
just to quickly add, there's no gainsay about it. The two major policies of this federal government has failed. The removal of subsidy and the manner with which subsidy was removed has failed. We are supposed to remove the corruption in subsidy, not removing subsidy. And also floating of the naira. There is nowhere in the world, there's no government anywhere in the world that floats their currency, that devalues their currency. Having devalue your currency and you said you have earned more from subsidy and you have increased the allocation of states and you have increased the allocation of various states. The question is, what is the value of the new funds that you are giving to them compared to when the naira was not devalued? It has resulted to nothing. So the way forward is our president and the government must be sincere. The issue of Dangote refinery coming up on stream and Dangote yet cannot sell, that has to do with the politics of the oil and gas. There is the market forces. Dangote is not complaining about the market forces. Dangote is complaining about the politics in this oil and gas sector, and the politics in that sector can sink any company. It can sink any multinationals. The reason why Dangote is crying about now is the same reason why we have 4 refineries in this country, including modular refineries, and yet we are importing refined products. Nigeria still remains the only OPEC country in the world that have crude oil, and yet we are exporting crude to import refined products.
Let me take this call. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where you calling us from? You're live on Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tony.
Thank you.
This is Raphael, calling from SCT.
Yes, Rafa, go ahead.
First of all, I will agree with Dr. Orenfo. Righteousness exalts the nation. Our problem here is that we are very far from the truth. And in an attempt to speak the truth, you see people try to bring you down. And we cannot move forward. First of all, we don't be calling local government. Not into state. Before the state. After we have called it federal government.
Okay.
Federal government are able to do their work. Something wrong. After something is wrong, what happens? Allocation increase. Big. Another one. Huge. To the state. To take care of that geographical area. We are not seeing the impact of that which is wrong. It cannot be.
Okay.
So we must be big state. How are we able to manage the double allocation?
Yeah, that's a big question. That's a big question. But let me quickly get to Honorable Higaria, who is joining us from the US, to give us his final words on solutions to checkmate this problem. Because I hear people say the president is more interested in 2027. The appointments are to prepare the grounds for all of that. This is just pure politics. Let me get your take on this as we call it a wrap.
I doubt if the president will primarily be interested in 2027 now, whereas we are still in 2024, and that's still like about 2.5 years from now. And one of our panelists has, doubted the appointment of certain individuals into the Federal Executive Council. Specifically, he had mentioned the Minister of the FCT, who by most standards, many Nigerians believe is doing a fantastic job in the FCT. I visited the FCT and it's way different from how it used to be. I think he's one of the best performing ministers in this government. Then coming to the weakness of the naira, which will continue to be experienced for as long as we do not have the exports to back our naira, then the naira is going to continue to weaken. Nigeria is basically an import-based economy, which means we have to source for dollars to buy stuff and bring into the country. And the way for our currency there's got to be balance of trade against most of the global economies. As we import from them, we have to export to them. And since we are finding it very difficult to diversify from being a monolithic economy, is continuously going to have impact on the value of our currency. What we must do is to hold our local government and state to account. Like my distinguished clergy had said earlier on, Papa, there was no point for you to go into Kano to buy rice for 70,000, whereas the rice at
Let me
Ekboma
take
could have
this
been
call.
polished.
Good morning, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Good morning. What's your name? Solomon, go ahead, please.
But the way we are spending the money at the federal level there, buying something that is not in the project, they are not spending it like that in UK. Coming to the local government or the government, okay, the citizen is crying that they are not seeing the impact. Can't you the federal share pull it yourself so that the citizen will be seeing the impact? The problem we have today is that question subsidy is gone. And when you arrest all these people, all these experts, then we have a cup of measure. A man signed with AK-47 will be released without the power of the governor or anybody because they have federal men. So what are we now saying? The federal is our problem. We should not bend any over any case here. They are the problem.
Okay. Thank you, Solomon Ataga. Our studio line is still open. 080-7777-0300 is our studio number. Our last caller on the program today. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. You're on Politics Today.
Hello?
Good morning. Go ahead.
My brother, we have not that problem about our president. We have not that problem about our president. Look at you, are you not in this country? You are see what is happening. You are making stuff here. Are you not in this country?
Yes, I'm in this country, so that's why I'm asking you now. What do you think we can do? What Mr. President can do to find solution to the problem?
If you leave the fire, this is where it is now. If you leave the fire, this will go down on its own. Everybody, there is nobody who will divert to anybody's problem.
Okay, gentlemen, that's the much time will permit us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. We hope you had a great time with us. Be sure to join us next week, Saturday, from the U.S. Ehi Egarea, who joined us from Virginia. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Comrade Maogbidi, thank you for coming. Thank you. And Reverend Canon Timothy Godao, thank you for coming. And Dr. Haifo Isegbe, thank you for coming.
You forgot to say open secret today.
Doctor. Anyways, I want to say big thanks to all our viewers and listeners on radio and all our viewers and listeners from all the other parts of the world. Thank you very much. And to our crew members behind the scene, thank you for making the program a huge success. I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, thanking you for staying with us. Have a great week ahead and bye for now.